Hi, I'm Leapfrog.
Hello, my name is Logan Shaw, and welcome to LogansStory. Today we're going to talk about Ready Player One, the next Steven Spielberg Highlight. Wait, you said we're going to talk about Ready Player One? Yes, we're going to talk about Ready Player One.
Woo! Woo! Yeah! Yeah! Woo!
Sorry. It's okay. Let's get into it. So the comments of being yourself. That's hard to come up with in today's day and age. And well, the things that can take us out of ourselves are simply things that can take us away from the world as well. And that can be hard sometimes to realize yourself is something great. And that feeling of worthlessness seems to be running through everyone's minds. And because of that, it doesn't really read well when you try to become a different character. That is very true. And because that's true, we have to understand something about becoming someone in the real world and becoming someone in a gaming world. That's where people go to this thing called the oasis. They want to get away from it all. They want to be something new. They want to be someone with purpose. And that could lead to a lot of different things, including the feeling of worthlessness to worthiness. And when they're in the real world, they don't feel worthy. When they're in this fake world, the oasis, they feel illuminated. They feel exemplified. They feel, shine by the light of the God's sun. But the thing is, that all goes dry because there's no other way to say this. But being you is the most important thing you could ever do. That's very true. And being you is probably the medicine towards your happiness, your joy, your long-lasting joy, as it would seem. See, the thing is, joy and happiness are two different things. You feel the high of happiness, but you don't feel the long-standing hope of joy. Joy is hope. Joy is patience. Joy is everlasting life. And that's because everything around you surrounds itself into your heart and your soul and your mind. It's a peaceful feeling. None other than what we think is peaceful than what we think is not peaceful. The thing is, when they go to the oasis, it's happy. When they leave, it's a junkyard. That's very true. And the thing is, when you think about the movie Ready Player One, are you ready for action? Are you ready to see yourself as an avatar? Or are you ready to see yourself as someone of worth in the real world? That's very true. And just to close out on this, before we let's go into detail, what is the most important thing that you can think of to become yourself? To become yourself fully? And what are the nooks and crannies that we can put into this? What can we take away from something like this in terms of the greatest points in history that involve you, yourself, and yourself? Well, let's go into detail. Yo, 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 yo. Ready to play one. Yo. Ready to play one. Yo, yo. Okay, you can stop now. Yo. Ready to play one. Yo. Ready to play one. Yo. Ready to play one. Ow! You're mean. Yeah, they say so. But the thing is, when you think about mean, what could be more mean than being mean to yourself? See, the thing is, when you downgrade yourself and don't see yourself as worth, like we said in the last one, it's worth to see your worth. It's worthy to see what you are capable of. And the game does that in a certain way of happiness and a frame of joy. That's what we're talking about in this, go into detail. Happiness and frame of joy. Which one's better? Which one's short lasting and which one's long lasting? And that's the thing we're going to talk about here. Because at the end of the day, that's what this movie's about. What can we do to bring mundane into something that is great and beautiful? And it's can be created in our own reality, in our own world. That is true. And what else is true is the mundane turns into worldly features at the end of the day. So, whatever you find in your world is mundane, try to make it so that it can be adventurous and worthy. And try to make sure it's something that you want to do. Because there's a lot of adventures out there that are not for people. So, if you're a rich guy, try giving. Because giving your money, giving your time, giving your resources can give you a heart full of joy. The minutes and short minutes of happiness. That is very true. And to that point, the voyage of trying to get through the mundane means that you're trying to get through the mundane everyday life. So if you're poor, try to think of things that will make the things important as an upgrade to see what you could do with your happiness. And once you pass that, see what it could do with your joy. Thing is, money doesn't bring joy. The thing is, changing yourself doesn't bring joy. The thing is, a video game character that you say is your avatar doesn't bring joy. Becoming someone different or pretending to be someone different doesn't bring you joy. The truthfulness and the adventure that you take will bring joy. So if you have kids, that's your adventure. If you have plane tickets to Hawaii, that's your adventure. If your parents show really rambunctious child, that's your adventure. If you're going on a train to somewhere magical, that's your adventure. And because of that, there's many mundanes in the world, but there's all the more adventures as well, and the reality of which is now. That is true. But here's another thing that is also true. Making sure that the understatement of mundane versus fantastic is clearly represented in terms of their differences. And what does that mean? Well, it means that if you think about everything that is mundane in the world, it's your imagination, it's your heart, and it's your body that you can use to go through and understand the meaning of what it could mean for everyone if you were going through and changing yourself for the worthiness of yourself. Now, here's the thing. You're not changing yourself for other people. You're changing your attitude toward things because your mind, your heart, and your body says to. That is true. And because of that, that's a big order for someone to take. And to change their attitude towards things of the mundane could bring them such joy because they realize something about themselves. They don't need millions of dollars to feel happy. They don't need millions of dollars to feel joy. One or the other may be the same. They don't need money to feel joy. They don't need to change their image to feel joy. Now, they could change their image to be happy about themselves for a couple of seconds. They could change their mundane life to an exciting life by simply just putting money into the equation. However you're going to get that money is unsure. But the thing is, and this is important, joy brings the mundane out of it, which means joy brings excitement into things that seem so mundane, and they turn into memories, hardcore memories. In and out with friends, the movies with your girlfriend, the parties with your mom, the inspirational talk from your dad. Those things bring you joy. Those things bring you to the real part of life. And when you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see that you can change? To change your mundane into joy. So, with that being said, can I say it? Fine, go ahead. Okay, application of course. This is a big step for you. A huge step. A step that can never be replicated in this world alone. But it's a step according to you. It's a step unsure of you. It's a step that's inquiring you to think, inquiring you to make sure you're making the right decisions. The step is be yourself. That's true. Be yourself through everything that you do. Because at the end of the day, it's really you who has to represent you. And it's really you who represents yourself in a great and powerful way. But why is that so important? Why is it so important to you and I? Well, I'll tell you, my negro muchacho. Being yourself is rewarding. Being the person that you want to be, rather than being the person that people expect you to be, is something different and something great. You have more appreciation for yourself, thus creating joy. So, if you want to get married to that girl, if you have confidence that she's the one, maybe the best thing to do is look at yourself, make sure you're the one for her, and she do so herself, thus bringing you both joy. Becoming someone in the business world, becoming someone in the acting world, becoming someone in the professional world, being a young professional indeed, that's something that you should find joy in. Your job should bring you joy. Yourself should bring you joy. And if you're religious or if you have some sort of spiritual awakening, God should bring you joy. The thing is, when you're creating yourself in this world, when you're trying to develop in this world, no matter how old you are, you will be able to create yourself not because of a video game, but because of what you do on everyday realm. Thanks for coming, and let's continue on. Thank you for coming to LogansStory, and thank you for coming to the Steven Spielberg Highlight. There are more highlights in the future, so keep an eye out for those. Also, the mission is 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 subscribers? Yes, 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 subscribers? Yes, 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 subscribers? Yes, 1,000 subscribers! You guys can help me get there by hitting the share, like, and subscribe button right under the screen. Also by hitting the bell. Thank you again, and peace. 1,000 subscribers?